Well, the Bachelor final was just a couple of weeks ago, but this is better than reality TV. Aaron Katersky, ABC News radio correspondent in Cleveland for the first GOP debate. Good morning, Aaron Katersky.
I think it is reality TV, isn't it? Or at least it includes an element thereof, with Donald Trump front and center, at center court, if you will, in the arena where LeBron James is normally king. And he's going to be flanked by Jeb Bush and Scott Walker, who are the only other two candidates polling in double digits. And so the body language should be interesting, to say nothing of the content of this 2-hour debate. That includes commercials. There are 3 moderators and 10 candidates. So it's close quarters, and each one is going to be fighting for time. In total, they'll probably get all of, 8 to 10 minutes to talk.
Yeah. Getting any sense what the Republican establishment is thinking? This is their coming out party, and, Donald Trump is center stage number one. Are there some people in the party pulling their hair out over this?
Well, I think there probably are, but also that, look, it's early, and the candidates who are not Donald Trump would tell you that there is plenty of time here, and that this debate is getting far too much attention because of the Trump factor and because of, the celebrity element. But would you watch if it were just, Scott Walker and Jeb Bush debating on stage? I mean, he does add a bit of entertainment value that brings viewers and that at least gets some eyeballs on their candidates.
What about the controversy of only having 10 on? I mean, I know they decided to do it through the polls, but the polls have a margin of error, and it just seems awful arbitrary that a legitimate candidate like Rick Perry, a governor of the biggest state in the union, one of them, is sort of left off the stage.
Along with Bobby Jindal, who's also been part of the national political conversation for the last several years, and Lindsey Graham, who's been deeply involved in American foreign policy debates, to say nothing of the other, also-rans. I was talking to Carly Fiorina, and she didn't begrudge her position at the kids' table. She said that she has no name recognition. She was pretty frank about it, and so she'll take any stage she can get to at least get her name out there, even though it's likely to be a much smaller audience than the one that will no doubt tune in for the main event. But there are some in the party who are upset with the way that Fox decided to, cull the herd, I guess. But they have effectively created now this 2-tiered system, and it's hard to see how the other candidates are going to make up for not having this this big stage tonight. They say, though, there's plenty of time.
Do you sense, or are you getting a sense from any of the camps that are going to be on the stage? Is there anybody who's going to really go after Trump and sort of go toe-to-toe and sort of slap back at him the way he has jumped out at them?
Well, if there are, the 2 most vocal ones aren't going to be on the stage with him. Rick Perry and Lindsey Graham didn't make the cut, and they were the ones who were most willing to take on Trump, but it didn't work. I mean, it didn't work, at least in terms of their poll numbers, to get them on the stage. So we haven't seen anyone else who's willing to really take him head on. They seem to be afraid of alienating his supporters, and so they've kind of casually dismissed his some of what he said without necessarily calling him out. I mean, Jeb Bush has come close. He's certainly been infuriated by what Trump says about Mexicans since he's married to one. But there's, we'll see, and that's the calculus for these candidates. Marco Rubio, we talked to him. He said he's not going after Trump or anybody else because he doesn't want to promote infighting in the Republican Party. He said he's going to keep his sights set on Hillary Clinton. But the risk there is, of course, if Trump says something crazy and you don't respond, you look a little meek.
Which the odds that he will say something a little, off color, I think are really high. Trump has been saying, I don't debate. I've never debated. I don't know. But what do you think?
It's a little like Tom Brady saying air in football.
Right,
air.
exactly.
I know nothing of this air you are talking about. But Trump's whole campaign is built on his personality. It's not built on policy pronouncements, but he's tapping into this vein of anger and discontent with scripted politicians who are polling before they say anything and unwilling to go off the cuff. And I think there's something refreshing there. Of course, if the other candidates can show themselves to be a bit more, presidential, if you'll excuse the term, then maybe they can come across as the grown-up in the room and score a few points.
How is this going to work? Because Trump's in position 1, because he is leading in all the polls. Is he going to get more time than, say, 8 and 9? Are they going to have a chance to sort of interact with each other, or is all of them going to answer a question and then not be able to respond?
Well, I'm not sure all 10 are going to answer every question, but there's supposed to be equal time for all. And there's going to be minute answers and 30-second rebuttals. So every time somebody mentions Trump, he gets another 30 seconds. So I think that the candidates are going to have to be careful with how they respond to each of the questions. And the moderators have considered using the same shot clock buzzer that the Cleveland Cavaliers hear every time their 24 seconds are up in the Quicken Loans Arena, just to keep the candidates on time.
It's going to be really, really interesting. And you're right. We're only talking about it, and we're only going to watch because it's reality TV by a reality TV star.
And so there's two ways to look at it. I mean, either you lament that our entertainment, pop culture, celebrity obsessed world has creeped into our politics, or you're like, oh, this is interesting, and you're into it. And I think Republicans that we've spoken to here are really split about it. They may lament Donald Trump, but they like the slate of candidates, and if this is what gets them some attention this early, well, then they'll take it.
Aaron Katursky, ABC News correspondent, put down the NFL ruling on Tom Brady long enough to get to Cleveland for the debate tonight. Aaron, have a good night. Thanks for checking in.
Bye, pal.
8:28 here, Big 550,